2018.
Jonathan visits Akwa Ibom today. Normal Claudio spreads campaign mobilization nets to Etinan, Ibesipuasutan and Nsiletai local government areas. Secretary to State Government harps on strict recommendations on convicted prisoners. An NSED road closed to traffic. Details of these and other stories in just a moment. Top of the morning, and thanks for joining us on the news. I am Samuel Udofia. Patience Jonathan is expected in Akwa Ibom State today as part of her sensitization tour of the country. A statement by the Commissioner for Information and Communications, Mr. Nyekan Omana, indicates that while in the state, Dame Patience will address Akwa Ibom women at a PDP Presidential Women Rally slated for 10 a.m. this morning at the Uyo Township Stadium. Visits by the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will provide an opportunity for the people of the state to demonstrate their appreciation and love for the mother who has continued to work for the elevation of women. He enjoined women, youths and all stakeholders to come out en masse and join the wife of the governor, Mrs. Ekaite Onoma Akpabio, to accord the visiting wife of the president a rousing welcome. Mr. Umana further advised that invitees will only be admitted into the stadium from the Udo Umana end. Buses are to drop their occupants at the Obimo traffic light and thereafter proceed to park at the primary school along Obimo Street. And Nsiletai areas have played host to the mobilization campaign team of the wife of the governor, Mrs. Unoma Akpabio. Mrs. Akpabio, who visited the local governments to solicit votes for the PDP gubernatorial faithful, Udom Emmanuel, and other candidates of the PDP, was accompanied by Martha Udom, the deputy governor, Lady Valerie Abe, and other high-profile women. He tells us more. You're still watching AKBC TV News at dawn. We apologize for the hiccup. Nseretai local government areas have played host to the mobilization campaign team of the Governor, Mrs. Unorma Akpabio. Mrs. Akpabio, who visited the local governments to solicit votes for the PDP gubernatorial faithful Udom Emmanuel and other candidates of the PDP, was accompanied by Martha Udom, the Deputy Governor, Lady Valerie Ebe, and other high-profile women. Ayano Paul tells us more.
The first local government visited by Mrs. Akpabio campaign was the Tinan. There, women including the wife of the local government, Mrs. Mpon Kenneth, wife of the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Mrs. Mary Lekon, and eminent women of the area, guests with dance and special songs. Mrs. Ekaita Unorma Akpabio said Udom's administration will create more job opportunities for women. The first women for supporting their male folks in governance, but called on the men not to sideline women when it comes to appointments. She appealed to women to vote Udom candidate in a Tinan, enjoy, respect their husbands, elders, and be law-abiding. The governor's wife summed up the area with a song, "My Lady Carry Me the Go." The team moved to Ibesikpo Sultan and were given a rousing welcome by the chairman of the local government and women of the area. Speaker after speaker assured the governor's wife 100% vote in the forthcoming elections, while women sang songs of support for their visitors. Mrs. Akpabio thanked the women of Ibesikpo Sultan for the large turnout and advised them to protect their vote in this month and April's polls.
This is your blessing. You want that? Yes!
She also presented the wife of the PDP flag bearer, Mrs. Martha Udom Emmanuel, to the women. From Ibesikpo Sultan, the campaign train stopped at Nseretai local government, where women displayed solidarity in different cultural dances. The wife of the PDP governorship hopeful, Mrs. Martha Udom Emmanuel, after being presented to the women, advised them to keep supporting governments that has empowered and recognized women in the past 8 years. Mrs. Emmanuel promised to follow footsteps of Mrs. Ekaita Unorma Akpabio in ensuring that women reap the dividends of democracy.
Goodluck Jonathan has connection. Our governor has connection. That's why he is bringing somebody that has connection again in the person of Udom. Get ready.
Some political stakeholders in Etinan, Ibesikpo Sultan, and Nseretai assured the wife of the governor and her entourage of the massive support.
All we have to do to show you we appreciate how you've done is for our women to go out and vote PDP. I want to say that way back in 2011, even if I was given the opportunity to be here, I wouldn't have been able to stand like this. You vote on PDP all the way.
Iyageno Paul reporting.
The Secretary to the State Government, Engineer Nkerewa Mekanim, has advised the State Advisory Council on Prerogative of Mercy to be strict and prudent in its recommendations on convicted prisoners. Engineer Mekanim gave the advice when he received the chairman and board members of the council in his office. The SSG reminded the board members that with an ultimate task and should ensure that those recommended for release merit such recommendations, disclosing that the 18-seater bus earlier approved for them by the governor will soon be released.
Unfortunately, it is not in our stock at the moment. As soon as that vehicle is in our stock, I'll make sure that it's released to you.
In his comments, the chairman of the State Advisory Council on Prerogative of Mercy, Sir Cosmos Udoite, said the council, one of the oldest government agencies in the state, is currently under the office of the Secretary. Sir Cosmos explained that the sole council is to advise governor on the exercise of his power of prerogative of mercy on who may require pardon. He expressed appreciation to the state governor for approving some of the council's recommendations and personally visiting the Uyo prisons to assess the prisoners concerned.
I trust the governor for his concentration.
The Enenset road has been closed till further notice. This is to enable some technical work be carried out on the bridges. Motorists are enjoined to avoid Enenset road and instead use Nodo, Afaranset Ndia Eket road. An official statement from the Ministry of Works signed by Nene Albert on behalf of the Commissioner regrets every inconvenience the closure might pose the public. The Afara indigenes of Nseratai local government area have risen in unison to endorse all the candidates of the People's Democratic Party PDP at all levels in the forthcoming general elections. The endorsements were contained in a 10-point communique issued at the end of an enlarged meeting of members of the Afara People's Forum held at the Afara Hall, Odut, Nseratai local government area. The people endorsed Dr. Goodluck Jonathan for the office of President, Obong Basi Albert as Senator, Uyo Senatorial District, Mr. Udomi Emmanuel as Governor, Engineer Mike Enyong for the Uyo Federal seat, as well as Elder Mark Eset for the Nseratai State constituency. The forum also reaffirmed the zoning arrangement for political offices in Nseratai, by which it was the turn of Ibiaikot to produce the next House of Assembly member.
All of our sons and daughters and now the turn of to House of Assembly members. The foreign giver is not that commitment of our power in particular, and Honorable Ed Abak is the
Earlier during the meeting, the chairman of Afara People's Forum and former Commissioner for Economic Development, Mr. Lawrence Udosen, advised the people to chart a course for posterity by galvanizing and synergizing all interests. He said Nseratai has the political wisdom to make decisions devoid of diabolism and stressed that only the PDP and to development tempo in the state.
I don't know both at the national and one of the ruling parties government will win elections. Will win state elections.
In his remarks, the Nseratai PDP chapter chairman, Apostle Ime Ekbe, expressed appreciation to the convener of the meeting for serving as a rallying point for the Afara people and being their pathfinder. Apostle Ekbe urged Afara people to take advantage of their voting strength, which constitutes about half of the total Nseratai votes, to deliver the PDP candidates whom he described as the best choice for Nigeria. Others who spoke included the Vice Chairman of the Para People's Forum, Mr. Smart Ben, State Party Officer, Barrister Johnson Johnson, the Director General, Unity Project, Mr. Udwak Eklowo, as well as Mrs. Titi Akban, who spoke on behalf of the women. They all pledged their total support for the People's Democratic Party and to ensure that all of its candidates were returned in their wards and units. About 400 public primary school teachers in Ikot-Ekpene Senatorial District of Akwa Ibom State are converging on the Federal Polytechnic, Ukana, the Synodom, for a 4-day capacity building workshop. Sponsored by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation NNPC Mobile Producing Nigeria joint venture, the workshop is coordinated by the Akwa Ibom State chapter of the Science Teachers Association of Nigeria STAN. Etienne Ibanga reports that the Commissioner for Education, Professor Atem Antai, declared open the workshop. The report is here presented.
The workshop drew participants from Esenudem, Oborokara, Ikot-Ekpene, Ikono, Ini, Okanafon, Oruwanam, Abak, Etibekpo, and Ika local government areas which constitute Ikot-Ekpene senatorial districts. It is aimed at updating the capacity of the practicing teachers in public primary schools to promote quality teaching and learning of sciences at the foundation level. Declaring the workshop open, the Commissioner for Education, Professor Atem Antai, charged the teachers to work hard to earn the respect of their pupils through knowledge of their subject matter, competence and dedication to duty. According to her, every learner, even in primary school, is quick to detect incompetence and quackery among teachers. Professor Antai observed that education the world over is an imperative for economic, political and social enhancement, adding that within the mandate of the teaching profession, teachers should be concerned with the promotion of desirable attitudes, ethics, integrity and best practices in education.
I am optimistic that this workshop will bring to bear considerable change in the pattern of teacher behavior, with a view to establishing the realization of the aims and objectives of the free and compulsory education in Akwa Ibom State.
The Manager, Public and Government Affairs Joint Venture Operations, NNPC MPN, Mrs. Regina Udobong, said the sponsorship of the workshop was initiated and endorsed as part of the joint venture strategy to deepen and strengthen teaching methodologies in the education sector. Mrs. Udobong noted that the exercise will improve the standard of basic science and technology, mathematics, English studies and civic education among teachers in primary schools, as well as stimulate creative thinking ability of the pupils. She reiterated the joint venture support for educational programs and activities, noting that the NNPC MPN has made significant contributions in the areas of health, sports, water supply, electricity, roads, infrastructural development, human capacity development, and economic empowerment in the states.
We believe the lessons gathered in the course of this workshop will be put to practice by all participants. As much as practicable, we urge you to share what you have learned during this workshop with your fellow teachers when you return back to your respective schools.
The state chairman, Science Teachers Association of Nigeria, STAN, Elder Udemo Urafia, listed the subject areas handled in the workshop to include English studies, mathematics, basic science and technology, and civic education, and expressed the hope that resource persons have been carefully selected to meet the objectives of the workshop to conform with the Millennium Development Goals and Vision 2020 in Nigeria. Elder Udofia commended Governor Godswill Akpabio for the free and compulsory education up to secondary school level in the state and the NNPC MPN joint venture for its sustained interest in sponsoring many educational programs in the states.
As the shutdown goes to the government of Akwa Ibom State on the free and compulsory education up to secondary school level.
Goodwill messages were received from the Federal Polytechnic Ukana, represented by the Registrar, Mr. Chrysanthus Asoka, as well as representative of the Chairman, State Universal Basic Education Board, Obawawan Grace Ekong. Some participants spoke of their expectations.
additional information we have just got, I think I shall do my best.
We have more news after the break. Do stay on.
Campaign.
At the time I saw in the man. Therefore, it's a man meditated. When finally, His Excellency, I got for me, when you have been on the time and put a Moses. When you look at my window, I get a Capeno. Joseph, Acapanda, and I do for them. I am out for post. See, I am for the man of the man. When I make a full of it, all of my little full of the end. Don't go in a man. Is that
Udom is right and fair. For God is the best. For Kwai said, Udom is right and fair. Behold our next governor.
You're still watching the news, and I'm Samuel Udofia. All persons or groups of persons involved in acts of harassment and assault on government Marco Polo buses, Uyo City buses, and their drivers have been advised to desist from such acts. A statement endorsed by the Commissioner for Transport, Prince Godwin Tugude, explains that such acts have caused damage to government vehicles in addition to disrupting, obstructing, and stopping the free flow of traffic. Henceforth, the statement adds, persons caught in such acts will face unpleasant consequences, while security agents have been directed to apprehend and prosecute offenders. Meanwhile, members of the Akwa Ibom State Government Task Force on Monitoring Commercial Vehicle Operators and officials of motor parks in the state have been advised to effect compliance. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Ememeba Sibase, has advised the public in the state to patronize government hospitals for quality healthcare delivery. He gave the advice after undertaking unscheduled visits to general hospitals, Ikorekmene, Ikwena, Ibiakun Towokbo, and Cottage Hospital, Ukana. Dr. Basi explained that the state government has expanded and acquired additional equipment and facilities in its health institutions across the state to ensure prompt attention to the health needs of the people. The Commissioner for Health emphasized the need to maintain health facilities to enhance their lifespan. He, however, lamented the underutilization of the general hospitals at Ikbena and Ibiakun Towokbo and called for a change of heart. The Commissioner was accompanied on the visit by top management officials of the Ministry of Health and Hospitals Management Board. The state government has announced the postponement of the inauguration of the Governing Council of the Akwa Ibom State University, earlier scheduled for Wednesday. A statement by the Secretary to the State Government, Engineer Nkeruwe Mekanem, says the postponement is necessitated by the absence of the Governor, who is on an official duty outside the state. To this end, the statement apologizes to the appointees and the concerned general public on the observable inconveniences, but promises that a new date for the inauguration will be announced in due course. Emmanuel Methodist Church Cathedral, Itiametoi, Etoi Circuit of the Methodist Church Nigeria, came alive as faithful gathered for the 20th Annual Synod of the Uyo Diocese of the Church. The Synod, which lasted 4 days, also featured the recognition of 6 lay preachers and prayers for Nigeria as the nation prepares for the 2015 general elections. Udo Aikong tells us more.
The 20th Synod of the Uyo Diocese of the Methodist Church Nigeria, with the theme "Aglow with the Spirit," drew delegates from the 10 circuits that make up the diocese. It featured business sessions, review of activities of the Synod in the last year, and prayers for the growth of the church. In a sermon on the theme of the Synod, drawn from Romans chapter 12 verse 11, "Aglow with the Spirit," the Reverend Theodore Effiong charged the newly recognized lay preachers to develop time to reading the Bible daily and prayers to boost their spirit man. He advised them to seek the face of God for grace and unction, stressing that the gifts of the Holy Spirit are not received in a crowd, but in the inner chamber, where power, glory, and honor will empower them to do exploits for the Lord. Addressing the delegates and other members of the church, the chairman of Synod and Archbishop of the Uyo Archdiocese of the Methodist Church Nigeria, the Reverend Emmanuel Udofia, said the theme of the Synod had been extensively discussed, advising them to live with the determination to seek and sustain the Holy Spirit so that they can be propelled to be better people in the church, society, state, and nation. The Archbishop advised Christians to refrain from acts of violence and other acts that can cause harm and insecurity during the forthcoming elections.
On the day of election, vote with your conscience. Don't use anything that will cause harm or anything that will cause insecurity in the land.
Also advising the electorate to get their permanent voters' cards preparatory to their participation in the elections, the Prelate Emeritus of the Church, Dr. Sondemba, urged Christians to vote with their conscience, expressing optimism that only leaders that will rule with the fear of God will emerge victorious.
Don't allow any politician to put evil into your heart to do wrong. Because most of them, their children are abroad during this election. They will be here.
Appreciative of God's benevolence and grace, evidence in the successful hosting of the Synod, the Uyo Diocesan lay president, Elder Alice Eyamba, described the atmosphere as spirit-filled.
It means we should love each other. We shouldn't be rushed. We should be able to speak out what is annoying us so that the church will move forward.
Udwakekon reporting.
Thank you, Udwak. As part of activities marking this year's Global Money Week and Financial Literacy Day, the Union Bank PLC Uyo has held a one-day sensitization workshop on importance of saving money in the bank. The workshop, which took place at Uyo High School, Orang Road, Uyo, was to promote financial inclusion in Nigeria by providing financial education to schools across the country. Ayano Paul has more.
Of Union Bank, Chinye Ugo, said the week is about educating young ones on how to manage their finances. Mrs. Ugo said Union Bank was established to solve the problems of financial management in the country with few branches, but now can boast of 10 branches and 3 cash points in Akwa Ibom State alone. She encouraged the students to start now to take interest in saving and investing money for the betterment of their future. Delivering a lecture on growing your money, the Group Managing Director, Union Bank PLC, Emeka Emuwa, spoke on investment, savings, the role of financial institution, opening of accounts, and diversification. Mr. Emuwa mentioned types of accounts to include ordinary savings, current, time savings deposits, and foreign exchange accounts. The lecturer stressed the need for children to have their accounts early in life as well as the need of investment in land and property.
The basics around managing money responsibly. It's our commitment to the community. It is our commitment and contribution to young adults that early in their lives, early before they even start working, they understand about money.
Fielding questions from students on how to open accounts, teenage accounts, need for diversification, and next of kin, Mr. Emuwa and some staff of the bank said and underage can open an account with the help of his parents, while anyone above 18 years can do so on his or her own. They mentioned that investment has to do with taking of risk, but pays if one can stand his grounds.
You keep it safe, right? And you keep it safe from somebody who wants to take it. It will also keep it safe from you, right? Because you will not be able to spend it immediately. So if you want to save money,
we come to you to the bank and open an account with you. We have to give us your passport. So the person will run the account. Once we have of you, we are up to the age of 18. Then you can run your account.
The principal of Uyo High School, Mr. Efiomokun, lauded Union Bank PLC for holding the program in the school, saying it has created awareness amongst the students.
Financial literacy framework, to my mind, will go a long way to enhance the students' understanding of financial products in order to develop their overall skills and confidence on financial matters and opportunities.
Some of the participating students said the workshop was very rewarding.
I've led different ways of saving our money, and I also learned that you saving your money in the house is risky because sometimes you may get involved in this armed robbery case and money can be stolen. I know that I don't really have to save my money in the wallet because it is not all that effective. I can open an account and I save my money.
Union Bank has done a very big job in the school today. They've taught me how to save my money and how to make it. It will help me become a very successful young man in the future.
Iageno Paul reporting.
You can also watch AKBC TV News online by logging on to akbconline.org or follow us on Twitter at AKBC45Uyo or on Facebook at AKBC Channel 45. Up next is Sports with Steve Say.